much-loved presence in the art world as an artist, a curator, and an author. This year, he published an incredible book called Milk and Honey that chronicles contemporary California art.
I had the pleasure of meeting Justin in Los Angeles at his studio. He was such a warm and generous person, and his passion for the arts was absolutely contagious. It felt like the beginning of a really great friendship. I was devastated to hear that just a few days after we worked together, Justin passed away. I feel honored to have spent the day with him, and I'm so grateful that his beautiful work lives on in this book.
Our thoughts go out to his friends and family.
Hey, Justin.
Todd, how are you?
Fine, pleasure to meet you.
You too.
Thank you for having us here today.
Thanks for coming by.
I see a lot of interesting work. Do you mind if we go into your office?
Yeah, so this is my area.
This is sort of your little mini installation here of many of the artists I see within the book.
It's works of art from friends, but then it's a lot of things that I like to surround myself with, like, family imagery, my grandparents and my grandfather. And this is a photograph, a poster that my dad had in high school. He had this poster up in his room in high school, and he doesn't understand why I have it up. He's like, why would you want to see this? Like, why wouldn't you want to see it? Yeah, these are just kind of funny little things I collected over the years. But then there's also a lot of books, which makes sense because I design books for a living.
So were you a creative little kid?
I think I was pretty creative. I got in trouble when I was about 3 for painting the garage floor. I was not hired for that project. My parents were not happy. But growing up in South Carolina was great because I was lucky enough to have support. I was fortunate enough to have a really great high school art teacher that was a huge influence on me realizing what I needed to try and do after high school. And that just kind of led me through school and eventually to design school. Right after school, I moved out here for an internship with Shepard Fairey.
I thought his illustration work was great. He seemed like he had awesome energy. He helped at the design studio during the day. At night, he would help me with art projects I was working on in my garage studio, cutting stencils, staying up late, listening to music, and we just had a lot of fun.
That was a fantastic experience because he was doing work that I was interested in from a process perspective, but also he's a worker. He works harder than anybody I think I've ever met.
And he had that skill set that was sort of between illustration, graphic design, painting, exactly the kind of sensibility that I think works to make a living as somebody that can do something practical, but also be able to seize the moment for great art projects. And I told him, you really should come to LA because you're meeting a lot of people like you. This is where you're gonna make stuff happen as an artist and designer.
That was a perfect primer. It's maybe more important than what you learned in college, getting to see the first-hand applications.
Yeah, in a lot of ways I think it was. Not everybody has to go to college to work into a creative field. I mean, ultimately you just need to be able to succeed. You need to, solve the problem or, create something that people are interested in seeing.
Now, Justin, I love your new book. I think it's just amazing. And one of the things that struck me is I know that you're a really talented artist on your own, but you also proved to be a fantastic editor. It takes a real generosity of spirit to be an artist and to be able to open up and be able to be empathetic to another artist and present them in a great way is really unique.
I never really kind of envisioned myself as being an editor or curator, and kind of came up doing art and then going into design. So curation has become kind of this natural next step where I'm still being creative and working with different people, but using their work to kind of create something else.
Well, the cover of the book is really fantastic. This is Sage Vaughn's work, right?
It is.
Amazing.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of really great things, kind of coming into his own as a painter.
When Justin and I met, his office was near my studio. We lived near each other. Our wives got along. So we would come by the studio and have lunch. We'd have lunch often. He had an opinion about the work, which was nice. So we'd come over, we'd talk about this and that. It was my good luck charm. I'd take a picture of him in front of a piece and it would sell. And so it just became a thing like, hey dude, I just finished this piece, can you come over real quick, I want to take a picture of you. That painting that he chose for the cover of Milk and Honey was the first one we did that with. It was just overwhelming to be on the cover of a book full of my heroes and friends. It was really special.
And I like that you also included some of the, Ed Ruscha in here too. It's sort of impossible to look at Cali art without...
The quintessential California artist.
What do you think specifically makes something look like California art?
I think the light, the colors that they choose, it's sunny here all the time, so that's a big part of it. I interviewed every artist that's in the book, and it seemed like every third person would say something about how great the light is here, how much it inspires them or it affects their work and their life. Chris Duncan's based out of San Francisco, and he's a great example of an artist who's really affected by light.
Now, Dan Monick's stuff I think is really interesting.
This was a project that Dan started this year where he took a photo of every single phone booth on Sunset Boulevard. And he's been very open to saying this is an homage to Ed Ruscha.
Yeah.
I really like this one because it's such a strong perspective and
Yeah, it's very
kind of the perfect, you know, LA blue sky.
Now, this is interesting because you picked, this is not a single person, A&P Quarterly.
Right, A&P Quarterly is a free magazine that's published by Ruka. And Ruka is a clothing company here in Southern California. They're really fantastic because they want to get everybody involved. So it's very all over the place to kind of, you know, here, run wild with this, we'll get it out there.
Oh, the retina is really interesting.
Yeah, retina is a really kind of hot topic right now in the art world because he's stepping up to a whole new level. This year he's working with Louis Vuitton on a product collaboration, but also painting the outside and doing the inside of their Miami location, their store. Which is great because it's a fantastic explanation of how a fine artist can cross over into something like fashion.
I know a lot of artists working out here, and I've always found that they've been very supportive of one another, and that's a little different than experiences I've found working elsewhere.
I've found that California is like the most friendly place, and everybody's really open to kind of helping. So it's really easy to kind of connect the dots and get together with like-minded people who share the same idea as far as concept or execution.
It's a very analog-oriented group of artists. Was that purposeful, or is that just what you respond to?
It's great seeing work that's actually something. So, yeah, I mean, I think there probably was my love for the artifact and creating something by hand that led me to have so many traditional mediums in the book.
I like that you've presented the artist's work in a book, you know, these beautiful analog experiences as opposed to a gallery or even on the internet. How do you approach something that's a little more deliberate and slower versus the speed of working electronically?
Well, I mean, the way things are now with Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all these digital platforms that allow people to put as much stuff up as they can as quickly as they possibly can. That's been a big turnoff for me. I don't think there's as much kind of heart and soul in it. But I feel like there's a little bit more of a lasting impact with doing a book because it's something you're going to come across as long as you have it. It's a time capsule, essentially. It kind of takes on a life of its own.